Hey everyone, it is Havo High here, bringing another video on Dragon Ball Z Dokkan Battle. We are on Global, and it is time for the 2019 July edition of Best Teams. That's right, it is actually the 4-year anniversary for Global, and I'm excited to bring you this list. Now, it took me a little while longer than I expected to get the LR Super Saiyan 4s off of the banners, but finally I got them, was able to run the teams, test them out, do overall gameplay, and now I get to show you how I feel about all the teams and compile this list for you. So with that, if you are new to my channel, like, subscribe, comment below, do all that good stuff, and always a shout out to DBZ Space and the Dokkan Wiki for info and images provided. Now, the term best teams is my opinion and is purely subjective. There is no official tier list or best teams rankings from Akatsuki or Bandai. Any references or research sources will be linked in the description below. And how I rank my teams, I do an overall ranking, right? A lot of people do maybe like the hardest hitting or optimal, all those good stuffs. I look at a multitude of different things. I look at leader skill, damage, passives, SA specials, links, HP, defense, bench flexibility, effectiveness, and overall gameplay. But the really key thing here is that really changed my list because I do this, and not too many people actually look at bench and flexibility. This right there is going to be the game changer for the list, because it was very hard for me to decide who the top 10 were, but also really the top 5. I was going back and forth. So I really actually compiled 2 lists, and you'll see at the end of the video what kind of the difference is when I take out bench and flexibility versus having bench and flexibility still in there. So how I build my teams, pretty simple. Of course you have to have a leader, you have to have 3 or more damage dealers. You want to like at least 1 flex position, but you can not have a flex at all, of course, just quote-unquote optimal team, right? And then I always run a support unit. You don't have to. Some people run 2 support units, even 3 support units, but 1 support unit is typical on my build. So and then of course my alt and bench, you'll see that from there. Now, when I do the dual category leaders, of course, dual categories is getting bigger and bigger and bigger as the leaders come out. The issue here is the 4 that have a secondary leader skill or someone else that has that same leader skill. I did not put majority of them in the list here. So primarily Gogeta, LR Gogeta, and Strength Jiren I did not put on the list. I do make a mention of Turles for full power and movie bosses, but full power Goku is gonna have a mention there. And then of course the new Goku's family leader in Super Saiyan 4 Goku will actually be on the list as well. So so a lot of people say, where is Gogeta? I understand, but I still think that Gogeta Blue is the better overall leader. So anyway, let's take a look at last month's top 10 list, and then of course the mismatch of stuff down on 11 through like 15 or so, or 20. Previous lists, Gogeta stood strong there, and I'll tell you what, when it comes to this list here, everybody made a change except for 1 team on this list. Everybody either moved down or maybe some of them even moved up on this list here. So it's going to be a lot of changes. This is a dramatic change, and that's usual because it is the 4-year anniversary. So let's go ahead and get into some of the teams here. Let's start with some honorable mentions. So the first honorable mention I want to talk about is, I did a whole video on this. I call it the forgotten team here, and that is the Shadow Dragon Saga. It did not crack the top 10, and I'll go back to what I said the equalizer was when on these lists is bench and flexibility. But overall, this team here got a huge boost when the LR Super Saiyan 4 came out, because both of them are actually being able to put on this team here. Fantastic team in and itself. If you were to run this team, you could dominate pretty much anything. However, the bench is very lacking, and I think the flexibility is lacking as well. So really got to make sure everything's kind of linked correctly, and Omega Shenron is actually the unit there that kind of messes up the rotations. So but if you're running this, you can either run the Super Saiyan 4s on the same rotation, or if you want to split up the LR Super Saiyan 4s, you can run Goku and full power Goku together, and then Omega and or Gogeta with Vegeta. So great team here. Honorable mention, did not make the top 10, but is definitely a top 15 team now, because before it wasn't even a top 20 team. So all right, let's go ahead and move on to the next honorable mention here, and that is Resurrected Warriors. Oh man, let's throw a rip out there. I don't think Resurrected Warriors will be coming back to the top 10. There's just so many good teams now. But this team here hung for the longest. It's actually been on the top of the top 10 list for a majority of the time frame when I actually ended up doing this. So it did stay on because of LR Broly, but because of, once again, the flexibility and bench of this team, I had to drop it off the top 10, but still very good. And really, when I say these teams here, these best teams, all of these teams are very, very good. So, but this team is fun. You can use this team on the World Tournament, so that is a bonus there when it comes to overall gameplay and effectiveness. However, as of right now, I think it could come back if like an LR Golden Freezer or something like that was to be introduced. But at this point in time, it is now off the top 10, just barely though, just barely. It is still a top 15 team. Now, the next honorable mention is a team that I think talked too highly about last month. Last month, I put this in the top 10, pretty high up there. But after thinking about it, I think it falls under the top 10. This is still a great team here. And when you look at this team, it's actually running 3 main rotations you can run. You can run, full power Goku with Broly. You can run the Gohan with the Go Bros, and of course Tech Tien with LR Friku. That's some flexibility, but if you get the wrong rotation, it's a mess, right? So if you get full power Goku, Gohan, and Tech Tien, it's not very ideal, and it's going to take you a while to get back into a main rotation. But if you're talking about like one of the hardest hitting teams, this team hits extremely hard, especially if you the longer the gameplay rolls into, especially with the Broly and the Go Bros. The longer it goes, the harder you're hitting. But since you're running 2 support units here, it's not as ideal as if you even if you wanted to put in LR3Q on here. But a very hard hitting team, but bench and flexibility is still okay because full power is still pretty strong. I just after playing it, I just didn't get the right feel for this team comparable to everything else. So coming as an honorable mention, full power Super Saiyan 4 Goku, basically a full tech team here. It's pretty crazy, but I had to leave it off the top 10. So who is going to be on the top 10? Let's go ahead and jump into the top 10 Global Edition. This is what you guys have been waiting for. So coming in at number 10, probably surprised a lot of you thinking about all the honorable mention. You're like, oh, those seemingly is going to be better. But actually, I think Universe 6 Tech Hit, this team here, or Universe 6 and Universal Survival Saga, is a underrated team. I think the synergy and the flexibility of this team is very good. It runs very solid. It has LR Friku, of course, but instead of running Tech Tien, which is a big hole in defense, you're actually getting a defensive buff unit and an ally with MVP 17. And yes, it is kind of gimmicky where if you don't have the enemy stunned, Tech Hit's not going to do that much damage, but if it gets stunned, and really just playing, there's I would say 30-40% of bosses that you can't stun, but if you can, it will get through the beginning stages of like Dokkan events really quickly, because those can get stunned. But if you're like going on a Super Battle Road, this is very, very beneficial. This can be very useful even on Battlefield, right? So I think this team has a lot of effectiveness, a lot of gameplay modes that you can really use. Yes, it's not good for World Tournament, but I think this is underrated, and it came out to global really early, right? JP recently got this unit here, and it's unfortunately not as popular, but very underrated. So coming in at number 10 is Universe 6 category Key plus 3 HP and Tech Defense 170% across the board, and Universal Survival Saga Key plus 3 HP and Tech Defense 150% across the board Tech Hit. All right, coming in at number 9, no surprise here, and that is Realm of Gods. Realm of Gods is one of the most flexible and very high level bench strength team out there. I would say they're the second best. 150% lead, you can do so many different things. Like this team here, I like this team kind of the best because it does a multitude of different things. You have Rosemasu and Rose, my favorite 1-2 punch, and they heal, they buff each other. Then you have additional attacks, you have transformations, multitude, and a great support unit on here. Not very many teams still right now on global that have these extra support units for its category. So, and West Kai there does do that now. If you don't have some of these units you can see here, you can just slot in whatever. You can actually have a fantastic additional main rotation in LR Beerus and EZA Beerus if you want additional damage, and they heal as well. So, but this team is fantastic, and this is Realm of Gods, Key +3, HP and attack defense 150% across the board, with the secondary leader skill of Int Key +3, HP and attack defense 50%, Realm of Gods leader in UI Goku. So, and coming in at number 8. Now, from here on out, it's probably going to be a crazy surprise. From here on out, I would say any one of these teams here, from 8 and above, has an argument to be number 1. How about that? All right, that's how crazy the rankings are getting, and a very small margin. And really, like I said, depends on your definition of best teams, right? So coming in number 8 is Representatives of Universe 7. Yes, this team here has the best leader skill with 177% across the board. Crazy flexibility, as you can see here. You can flex all 3 of them, all 3 of those flex units there. And primarily, you are just running the rotation of LR Friku with MVP 17 and the Tech Tien. However, I've always said that Tech Tien is a hole in the on this team and can cause, you know, some issues, being that it's only getting buffed 90% versus 177. Everybody else is getting buffed 177. And yeah, I think this team is great. You might say, well, look at that bench. Well, that bench, if they're tech units, they're probably only getting that 90%, not getting the amount of buff of the 177, except for that Godku there. So Representative Universe 7, the bench on that is very, very limited. And you're going to hear a lot in the next, you know, 7 teams or so, is bench and flexibility is one or the other is going to be an issue. Flexibility here is okay because within the team here you can just kind of move things around, but yeah, you're very, very focused on LR Friku on this team, which is fine because LR Friku is still one of the hardest hitting, if not the hardest hitting LR in the global side of the game. So coming in at number 8, probably a surprise to a lot of you guys, Representatives of Universe 7, category Key +3, HP and Tech fits 177% across the board, with the secondary leader skill of Tech Key +3, HP and Tech fits 90% with LR Friku. All right, coming in at number 7, this is the one that made me the saddest. Like, how can I do this to one of my favorite teams of all time? This is like seeing your favorite sports team be on top for such a long time and then just slowly diminish and drop away, because really relevancy, this team hasn't changed since when it came out, and that is Potara, right? LR Super Vegito. Yeah, it's crazy, I know, and I'll say it again, no other team can, you know, do what this team does. However, going back to flexibility and bench strength, this is actually one of the worst bench strength now, because there are very few Potara units that you can use. And I said it last month, I'll say it again, we need thickness of time. We need her on this team to bump this team up, because just having that base form Vegito as a support unit is very, very weak. And then if you use that Turles there, it's even worse. It's just, we need more for this team. It just hasn't changed that much, but man, it has the counters on this team, additional attacks from Vegito Blue, but once again favor 1-2 punch in Rosemasu and Rose. But then if you're like to change it up, if you wanted to put in the 90% units on here to then do main rotation with Super Vegito, then you're missing out on some defensive ramifications, especially if you're putting in LR Gohan and Int Gogeta and things of that nature. So yeah, this team had been number 1 for such a long time, but they have not updated much of this team and units, and it's just been tumbling down, and it's so sad to see at number 7. But it coming in at number 7, Potara category, Key +3, HP attack 170% with defense 130, with a secondary leader skill of Int Key +3, HP attack and defense 90%. So like I said, any one of these teams, you can make a case for number 1, all right? So coming in at number 6, the only team that did not change from last month's ranking is Pure Sand. You might go, what are you doing? How are you able to put 150% leader here above 170% leaders? Because the bench on this thing is almost unlimited. It has so many amazing units, and look at the 4 LRs you're running on this team, and yes, you're only getting 150% across the board, but it is massive. This thing is crazy, and the longer this fight goes on, transforming Vegeta, he gets stronger. He has that nuke advantage at the end. You got LR Broly, Tech Broly doing well there and strong there. If you don't have LR Tech Broly, put in the physical one if you wanted to do that. This team is crazy, and I don't even, you can put a double support if you wanted to with Turles. You can swap Turles out for Paragus. You do so many different things on this team. The flex is too great, and this is the reason why it is on still top 6, top 10. The pure Saiyans. It's literally the story of Dragon Ball in itself. Saiyans are this category was crazy when it came out, and it just gets better and better every single banner comes out. Getting 2 LRs being able to use on this team with LR Super Saiyan 4s, Goku and Vegeta. It's just crazy stuff. And by the way, if you wanted this to be a more defensive oriented team, you can run the Evolution Vegeta as a friend, and you can mix it up doing that way as well. But I'd rather you just run 2 transforming Vegetas and you're good to go. So coming in number 6, Pure Saiyans category, Ki plus 3, HP and attack defense 150% across the board with a super class. Forgot to mention the secondary leader skill, which is crazy as well. Super class, Ki plus 3, HP, attack, and defense 100%. Transforming physical Vegeta. All right, we're going into the top 5, and it might surprise you. It surprised me, but I had to stick to my guns and had to stick to my overall feeling about this, and I was switching this stuff back and forth probably half a dozen times. And I go, you know what, I'm going to stick to this here because it's going to be what the future holds for these teams. So coming in at number 5, one of my favorite teams to run, by the way. It is Movie Bosses. That's right. Full Power Broly is dropped out from number 2, right? Dropped down from number 2. So coming in number 5, this team here is a fantastic team. You could run this team with the Beerus and the EZA Beerus and the LR Beerus with a flex of Gohan on here. You can put in EZA Broly if you wanted to. You can put in the combination of LR Friku and Omega. A lot of people are saying, why did you do that on this team? It works fine because it reduces attack with that Omega Shenron there. So flexibility is very good. Bench is great as well. And it works for world tournaments. A lot of pluses for this team. However, I still think the best team is this team here when you actually add LR Tech Beerus, not Beerus, LR Tech Broly. Can get the B right out there. I think this team is fantastic, right? So you're running main rotations of both LR Brolys, and then EZA Beerus and Strength Beerus, LR Beerus, and then running some great flowers on here. So this team here, I think, is probably the best team that you can run on Movie Bosses and Full Power. However, you do lose some of that 170% to attack because you're going to be using LR Turles as the leader, and he's only running at 150%. So slight disadvantage there caused me to just drop it to, I was like, oh, it should be number 4, should even be number 3. I can still make a case for number 1, but I settle for number 5 for current relevancy, overall gameplay. I still really enjoy playing this. It's one of my favorite teams to run all the time anyway. So yeah, it was hard, but I had to settle in. Coming in number 5, Movie Bosses and Full Power. In this case here with the Turles and Broly, but Full Power, Physical, Super Saiyan Broly, Movie Bosses category, Ki plus 3, 170% to attack, HP and defense 150%, with Full Power category, Ki plus 3, 170% to attack, HP and defense 130%. Alright, so coming in number 4. This is where everybody's going to probably disagree with me, because I was disagreeing with myself multiple times. And that is number 4, Movie Heroes, Gogeta Blue. Yes, what I've called one of the most perfect teams that you can run on this game here. I put it at the number 4 spot. And why? I'm going to say it again. Flexibility and bench strength. This is the only reason why I dropped it to number 4, because it's not that great, the flexibility and bench strength. If you are trying to switch out with some of these other units on here, once these 4 units, if you don't even have those, it's going to be tough to even build any kind of decent team on here. Now, fortunately enough, the team that you see right here, you can flex out 2 units. If you don't have Go Bros, you don't have Tech Godku on here, you can put in Gogeta. You can put in, if you want some more damage, you can put in Fizz Tanks. But the support unit really makes this team shine. And if you don't have movie heroes, Super Saiyan 1 Gohan on here, then it does lose its lackluster a little bit, especially if you want to make a case for it to be number 1, right? So it's lacking support because the support units there aren't really that great. If you want some more defense, it's going to be great, but yeah, unfortunately I could not bump this up higher, but I will say on my other list, all right, on my other list that you'll see at the end of the video, they are number 1. I think this right here, what you see in front of you, is the best team to run, but adding the bench and flexibility of this team, I had to drop it down. There's just, the bench strength is nowhere near the ones that I'm going to be talking about in a bit here. So coming in at number 4, movie heroes category, key +3, attack 170%, HP and defense 150%. With a secondary leader skill, fusion category, key +3, attack 170%, HP and defense 130. So that leaves me, if basically you see all those, you're like, well, that's basically the new units are the rest of the teams, and you are right. And the reason why I added the kind of the newer units on here is due to the fact of the active skill. The active skill dynamic is going to be the next form of meta that's going to be a part of Dokkan Battle, and I go, you know what, that additional attack, especially with the Super Saiyan 4s, are going to be what's going to take this over. So coming in at number 3 with the bronze medal is Vegeta family. I was literally going to put this at number 2, but going back to bench, it doesn't have as strong of a bench as Goku's family, which we'll talk about in a second. But Vegeta, I love running this team. This is one of my favorite teams to run. This team here particularly, but I'll show you another team that's very, very fun to use and does crazy amount of damage and really doesn't have too many weaknesses on here. So with this active skill with the Super Saiyan 4 Vegeta and on Goku, those added attacks can do just make things run faster, can get you out of a sticky spot here, do a lot of different things that other teams really can't do, and they have an unconditional active skill. You just have to wait those 4 turns and it's good to go. So that is very beneficial, and that's one of the reasons why I actually have the Super Saiyan 4 LRs higher than the movie bosses and the heroes because of the unconditional active skill. So this team here, another reason why it's lower, it could be absolutely higher on here, is that Vegeta takes a little while to kind of get things going, but that's okay. The other teams takes a while to get things going as well, to get to the high point of things, but I think the peak of this team maybe isn't as good as the peak of the top 2. So the other team that you can run here is this team here. I love running this team. It's actually running 3 support units, but when you're running the EZA, Future Trunks, and Vegeta Blue on this, those are support units, but they can actually wield some pretty decent damage. So if you actually run those 2 units on different rotations, you're going to run both of them with this LR Super Saiyan 4 Vegetas, and they provide additional buffs, things of that nature. You're going to put them in the first position, and both of them will increase the super attack by 30%. So having that additional bump and additional damage out there is fantastic. And then you're going to be floating your transforming Vegeta and your strength Goku on here along with the Bola, and this team runs really, really great. So definitely, if you haven't tried this and you have all these units, try it here. But coming in at number 3, the bronze medal, the Vegeta's family, category key +3, HP 130%, and attack and defense 170%, with a secondary leader skill of a fantastic, also forgot to mention the secondary leader skills, which is fantastic. It's super strength, key +3, HP and attack and defense 120% across the board. So All right, top two. You kind of get to know what these top two will be, and surprisingly, actually, the second place is going to Goku's family. That's right, Goku's family takes a silver medal. Boy, can you run a multitude of different units. Right here on the alts, I just put a few. Right, there's a laundry list of great units you can run with the Goku's family. And also, there's great Super AGL units, Gogeta Blue and things of that nature you run on this team as well. But when you're running this team here, if you're going to be running Super Saiyan 4 LR Goku on main rotations, you're going to be running this team here. You're going to be running with full power Super Saiyan 4 Goku on one rotation, and then the AGL Super Saiyan 4 Vegeta on the other rotation, and you're going to flex and rotate the other three just for support and some additional damage on there. So this team you absolutely can run. Or if you say, I'm going to run LR Gobros in here, you can do that. You just want to change it up a little bit. You can run Super Saiyan 4 Goku LR on one rotation and then Gobros on another rotation, and it still runs really, really well. And then you're going to kind of flex this all out and do a rotation and have a Super Saiyan 4 LR Goku as a floater versus a main rotation. So you can run it either way, and that's the reason why it has this extra flexibility where you can run additional LR on a main rotation and still cause quite a bit of damage and do well. So that flexibility and bench strength is really a lot better than Vegeta's. Not by much, but just enough to get it to that second spot. And also, Goku in and itself, he does damage a lot faster right up front. You don't have to wait like Vegeta does on there. But if you're going to be running Gobros, you do have to wait a little bit on top of that. So what's going to be, Goku's family, so coming in number 2, Goku's family, Ki plus 3, HP and attack 170% with defense 130% with a secondary leader skill of Super AGL, Ki plus 3, HP and attack defense 120%. So that leaves one team, and you might go, wait a minute, let me count this on here. Wasn't this team before, wasn't even a top 1 contender? You're right, but after continuously playing it, I'm going, you know what, this is the best team on Global right now, and that's Siblings Bond. All right, you might go, wait a minute, Siblings Bond, really? I go, yes. Once again, I'm going to prove to you guys, because of that bench and flexibility, Siblings Bond is, you can do so many different things with this team. One of the reasons why is Siblings Bond is the only category leader with 170% to attack that has plus 4 to Ki. All right, and I took that for granted at the last month. I wasn't really thinking about that, but it's the only one that has it, and you got to give some additional points to that. On top of that, boy, can you run so many variations. This team here is one of my favorite teams to run. You can flex out the Super Saiyan 4 LR Goku here with anybody on the list there, and however, the 2 rotations you're running just crushes really anybody, and you're gonna have defense. There's no holes basically on this team here, so even the support unit is fine because it does a debuff as well to extreme enemies if you're fighting extreme enemy. So you're running Gobros with EZA Goten there as one rotation, and then on this team here, the EZA Beerus and LR Beerus, it just does incredibly well. So especially when you have the rotation of the Gohan there, because he also has shocking speed and provides the additional defense and to attack. Once you activate Beerus, and once like 2 turns in with Gobros, from then on out, it's the best team. So do I take some points off because the first turn or second turn is maybe not as optimal? I was thinking about it, but as we continue playing this game, it's not about the Dokkan event, it's about like SBR, it's about the harder events, and this team here does so well even later. It just gets stronger and stronger and stronger, so you have to give some bonus points to that. So another way you can run this team here is that you can actually run LR Super Saiyan 4 Goku on here, because the secondary leader skill is Goku's family. It's only 20% difference on leader skill with Goku's leader skill, right? So it still has 170% to attack, and attack is the most important stat in Dokkan here. So you're talking about Goku's family as a secondary leader skill. That's incredible. And I should have just put them at number 1 last month, just really thinking about the overall effectiveness, flexibility, and outright bench strength. Because, yeah, Siblings Bond is kind of not really limited. There's actually quite a bit on that with Vegetas and androids and things of that nature. But then Goku's family, put that list on there. It's, you know, sky's the limit on there. So this team can run really well as on top of that if you want to run LR Super Saiyan 4 Goku on the same rotation. Then you have, this is a very fun team here. So this team is very goofy, all right? So when you set up this team, you see 3 flexes. Those 3 units you can change for any hard hitter because you're going to be running Easy A, Go 10, and your support unit in Great Saiyan Man 2. He's going to be on the main rotation of LR Go Bros. And then you're just rotating those other units around. And actually, I was like, you know, I wonder if this is going to work really well. Boy, it works really great, especially if you're running this type of team here. So you can even run LR Barris on this if you wanted to, but he would be just like a floater as well. So those 3 units you can float and have LR Go Bros on the same rotation. So imagine 3 amazing hitters as floaters, while your main 2 rotations as LR Go Bros is just killing it, just getting stronger and stronger and stronger as the fight keeps going. So coming in at number 1 was a surprise to me as well, but once again, I kept on playing this team and going. There's so much versatility, so much great effectiveness on this. Siblings Bond category, key plus 4, attack 170%, HP and defense 150%. With Goku's family, key plus 3, attack 170% with HP and defense 130. All right, let's go ahead and recap everything here. July 2019, the 4-year anniversary. This is where everyone falls here. If you want to look at number 11 through 15, it's just a mishmash. It's getting to the point where Global needs to figure out, or actually just Dokkan needs to figure out, you know, what's the next step. Because the margin for difference in quote-unquote best teams is so slim, it's just preference at this point in time. And I prefer, you know, creating and developing this list of teams that, you know, we talk about bench strength and flexibility and things of that nature, and overall effectiveness in different game modes, stuff like that, that provides, a different way of looking at the best teams. But this is the top 10. I know there's probably going to be some disagreements, but hopefully there's going to be some agreements as well. Definitely comment below on there. And yeah, I did tell you guys, if I took effectiveness on game modes and bench strength and things of that nature out of my my best teams, quote unquote, actually I think this is the best teams, the alternative best teams, the top 10 here, if no bench, flexibility, effectiveness, and game modes. Gogeta, that team there is number 1. If I didn't care about the bench, number 1. It's one of the perfect teams that you can run on there. But you're very limited if you're missing a few units here and there, and you really can't switch them in and out very well. So on that. So that's why I ended up dropping number 4. But then there's the rest. I actually would put Vegeta's team above Goku and Go Bros on here. But like I said, Go Bros and Goku, man, you can do so many different things. It's crazy. But yeah, you might go, wait a minute, if this is your alternative, yeah, bench, flexibility, effectiveness, and game modes, it's a different way of looking at it, and that's why this is actually my official top 10 list versus the other one. So with that, man, this is a long video, but hopefully you guys enjoyed it, and yeah, love to hear your agreements or disagreements in the comment section below. So if you are new to my channel, like, subscribe, comment below, share, do all that good stuff. Thank you guys for watching. Keep on Dokkaning. We'll catch you next time.